Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Pipe Bomb Sessions. We had a pretty epic week, I would say. Not too bad at all. I personally would like to thank everybody who gave me a like, subscribe, a follow, a shout. I appreciate that, guys, since a lot of you did see my Pipe Bomb Sessions brand and poster out there on Friday night on SmackDown. I was there live. I was checking out the show, and man, was that a banger, actually. I expected that to happen just because it was the first SmackDown after Mania, right? So, fully expected that was going to happen. And as usual, our 17-time champ starts off the show, right? And we got John Cena coming out. Obviously, he's definitely going to start talking about, maybe what happened on Raw with RKO. But before any of that even happens, Randy Orton comes out. Boom. Orton comes out. Crowds popping, heated up, excited. John Cena and Orton, it's like things have never changed. And speaking of change, that's exactly what Orton says. Orton's like, "Yo, Cena, you've been the same for 25 years, and what the hell happened now? Like, what are you doing?" And pretty much, Cena is telling Cena's telling Orton how dare he embarrass him. Like, what do you think is going on out here? Granted, I mean, we know Orton went full diabolical on Cena's dad all those years ago, punting him. And so, I mean, I get where Cena's coming from, to be honest. And, like, in Cena's words, he's still the role model for people. He's like, yeah, the real truth is that he's the role model for children, not Orton. You know, he's calling out some kid in the crowd when I was there live. Yo, so funny. The kid straight up flips him off, gives him the finger. Cena goes after his dad. You can see the kid mouthing something back to Cena. Cena's telling the dad, "Why don't you come in the ring and stuff?" So I thought it was pretty funny. And you know, Randy Orton replies saying, "Yo, Cena, you just a guest over here. That's why he's gonna take the title, because Orton's still here for a long run. Unlike Cena, he ain't gonna ruin wrestling." And as he says that, Cena tells him to shut his mouth. You can see Orton's fuming. Orton's lit up. He's like, "Yo, you serious right now?" And he says that the counter is going to restart with Orton. Now, by that, he's talking about Orton's title reigns. Obviously, Orton's right behind him, right? Not too far off. And winning another title would make him even closer. But Cena's saying when he leaves with his title, the new title doesn't count. All of those title reigns that Randy Orton had are irrelevant after that. So, in my opinion, what's this really mean? Like, is Cena saying he's gonna go home with the title and they're gonna be forced to make a new title and everybody starts from zero again? And that's what it sounds like is what he's saying. You know what I mean? He's gonna make sure that 3 generations of Randy Orton's family is snapped just like that, erased. And boom, just like that. I did not expect. I expected Orton to make the challenge actually, but instead we got Cena making the challenge to Orton, saying, "Hey, you want the title? All right, we'll settle this at Backlash, right in your hometown, right where Cena can embarrass him and beat him." As soon as he says that, he attacks Orton, starts beating him down, and then as Cena's about to hit him with the title, bang, RKO. 3 deadliest letters in the WWE. RKO. And then Orton, let me tell you, Orton looked nice when he was posing with that title. I don't know if he's going to win this. Just a little hard for me to see it because Cena just started his reign. If they were give it to Orton, What if Cena goes ahead and wins Money in the Bank, cashes it in to win the title back? Now he's even more ahead than what he already was. So there's a few ways they can definitely go about this. And of course, because it's a Mania after SmackDown means we get a couple call-ups, couple debuts, returns. And one of the call-ups that I was really, really happy about was Fraxium. Fraxium showed up and they faced Legado del Fantasma. Came out with Santos Escobar, of course. A very good match. My goodness. They put on a show for us over here in Texas. And Fraxium, of course, comes up on top with a win. I can see how Nathan Frazier is definitely trained by Rollins. Like some of the movesets, the way he moves, it's literally a younger Rollins. It's really, really impressive to me. It's pretty good. I thought it was really dope, and it's good to see Fraxium get moved into SmackDown's tag division because we already know SmackDown's tag division is strong. Seems like they're just gonna kind of build upon that and keep it strong. I like that. Would be really, really excited for that Fraxium and Street Profits matchup that's gonna happen in the future. I think it's gonna be a good one. And speaking of good ones, I did not expect this to take place. Now, we got Tiffy coming out talking about her win over Charlotte, how she beat her, took care of business, kept her title. Then Jade comes out. Jade says that, she was a little stagnated because of the attack that happened to her, but now that she's taking care of Naomi, put her in the rear view. It's funny. Because of that, she can now concentrate on becoming a champion, become that dominant figure that she was in another company already. And this set up a match between Tiffy and Jade, actually, live right there on SmackDown, which was really impressive. The match was going well until, of course, and I had a weird feeling it wasn't over. Of course, Naomi comes out. Naomi comes out, attacks Jade, that caused the DQ. You see that Tiffy tries to come in, Naomi slips out. Boom, out of nowhere, we see the return of Nia Jax. Nia Jax attacks and holds up the title. This all seems like it's going to be coming to, in my opinion, at least this upcoming SmackDown. Probably going to be like some sort of tag match. Jade, Tiffy, Nia, Naomi. You can see it happening and being teamed up. But I think the bigger thing here that's going to happen is that this is setting up the Fatal 4 for Backlash. I mean, you got 4 competitors. They all have beef with each other in a sense. Especially, it's like a 2-on-2 situation where you can't leave your women's champion off the card. So, I can see Tiffy defending her title in a Fatal 4 at Backlash. Would not be surprised if they were to announce that and that were to happen next. I definitely would not be surprised. One man who actually became a new champion was the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Now, Fatu, he was dressed like a G, in my opinion. Seeing him live is just crazy. The guy's a maniac, and I freaking love it. Fatu's out here, and he's not talking yet. Solo's hyping him up, saying like, yeah, he told everybody that Fatu was going to be champion. He told it. He said that he's the reason Fatu is the U.S. champion. Fatu, out of nowhere, takes the damn mic from Solo. This is all crumbling before our eyes, but it's like a slow burn, you can tell. Takes the mic and he tells Solo, yo, don't get me twisted, homie. I told you I was going to bring this home to the family. And I was going to do it with you or without you. See, he keeps saying this, and it's like weird. Obviously, there's tension there, and the tension's just building upon building upon building. But he keeps quoting this situation, and I just don't know how to feel about it. That, of course, brings out LA Knight, who wants a rematch, which I'm hoping that they move LA Knight forward and not keep him in the U.S. title picture, please. Like, let's get LA Knight into more different feuds, maybe elevate him into the main eventer that I believe he is, at least. And I'm sure that a lot of people would agree with me that he is a main eventer. I don't mind LA Knight at all. that brings out the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre to confront. And he's like, he was gonna possibly challenge for the undisputed title, but of course, nepo people work in WWE, so favoritism works in that way. And Randy Orton somehow just calls a shot and goes after the title next. He gives a little jab to the Bloodline and says hello to them. And Drew's basically saying like, yo, I want the US title. He wants to come fight for it. And fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, Drew is only the US title, one US title away from becoming a Grand Slam champion. So, I would not be surprised if Drew were to somehow take this title off Fatu. Now, because of how this is kind of getting set up, you can see LA is there waiting for his title opportunity rematch. Drew wants a match, and he wants to go after the biggest, baddest guy, and that's Fatu, in Drew's words. So, boom, that's a bonus for Drew as it is. On top of that, they set up a match between Drew and LA Knight, which, of course, later in the night gets interrupted and distracted from freaking Solo. And out of nowhere, we see Priest show up. So Priest then takes out Drew, starts freaking bashing him, puts him through the damn announce table right in front of my eyes. I'm like, yo, this is insanity what's going on right now. So we got these four guys, Fatu then comes out of nowhere, dives on top of LA Knight and Priest, take them out, and he just lays everyone out. Attacks both of them, lays everyone out, and the US champ is standing tall. You got that right. You guys are thinking probably the same thing I am. Fatal 4-way as well for the US title happening at Backlash. I could see it. And a Fatal 4. I know Fatu just won it, but maybe they want to plant the seeds for this Solo Fatu breakup. Possibly Solo comes in and distracts someone, and he costs Fatu the title. If he costs Fatu the title, Fatu's going to flip out. Because A, he just lost the title, he just won, and B, he lost it because of Solo. Someone who seems like may or may not be on his side. Of course, this match is not official by any means, but I could definitely see it happening. And that, in my opinion, is the way they are going. Now, speaking of new champions, we crowned a new champion tonight. That's right. Our reigning women's US champ is now no longer the president of the United States of Chelsea, how she says. So, I mean, Zelina was teased for all these weeks, and I have a few reasons why Zelina may have won. In my opinion, she deserved a title win. Zelina's pretty good. I like Zelina personally. But another reason why Zelina won, and maybe just an extra caveat for someone to return literally right afterwards. That someone was, yes, all those hints all these weeks. You got that right. It was Aleister Black. Aleister Black is back in the WWE. His return wasn't too crazy. I feel like it's always the Miz who gets attacked. Miz out there shouting, talking, and I'm telling people, yo, lights are about to go out. Like, this is where Aleister Black's coming out. Easily, 100%. Comes out, gives him the black mass, kicks the hell out of him, and leaves him laying. I like it. Aleister Black is back. I actually do like how they made him return. Short, sweet, simple. Of course, we know exactly who he is. The hype is 150% behind him. So, can we really complain? And I'm glad to see him back in the WWE. I think that he was underutilized previously. And this time around, I think Triple H will be using his boy a lot. And his wife, just became champ. Yo, that works out. Damn. And speaking of champions, a matchup which easily, I want to say all teams involved proved that they should have been at WrestleMania. Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and Street Profits. Main event TLC for the tag titles. And my goodness, did we have a show! So many crazy spots. At one point, Angelo Dawkins speared freaking Ciampa right off of the damn ladder into a table. I will say it did look like Dawkins' knees got a lot of that hit, and it hurt him a lot. um, I thought at one point the Motor City Machine Guns had it and DIY had it because the profits were laid out. I think the Motor City Machine Guns had a really cool move where they put freaking, I believe it was Gargano right through the table, right in front of the announce table actually. And after a chaotic and crazy matchup, the Profits retain. You know, you had the whole Dickies Arena going crazy Friday night at Fort Worth. We all wanted the smoke. These guys were freaking hyped. I'm really hyped more because shout out to my boy Montez Ford. Appreciate you diving me up and saying what's up to me. I really do appreciate that. So thank you, man. And that was dope. I thought it was a great Friday night. That was a great SmackDown. Good crowd. It was hyped and exactly as expected. Now let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to what I was hoping we were going to continuation of is this new alliance that is formed, and I think will still be forming. It's still very fresh, and that's on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, last week we saw Rollins, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker take out Punk and the Tribal Chief, right? So that's what happened. They got taken out. Wasn't seeing Braun getting involved coming, to be honest, but I'm super excited that he is. I think Braun Breaker is already a star. He's the future, and him becoming a Paul Heyman man and being part of a guy like Rollins' group is only going to elevate him into spots where honestly we may not even expect. He's gonna, if not already, become the next big thing. So of course that brings out the gentleman I just mentioned, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, and their leader, Seth Rollins. You know, Rollins comes out, he ups to the crowd, says, this is what WWE is going to be going forward. He's the future of the WWE. And as he's saying that, I didn't expect this man to come out, but Sami Zayn comes out. Now, Sami Zayn really hasn't been involved in a lot of things, and I feel like he's been just up and down on the wins and losses. More on the losses, I feel like, recently. But this is interesting. Sami Zayn's basically calling out Rollins for his BS. He says this whole new group is just a form of jealousy by Rollins because he wanted to be in the same spot, possibly as Punk or Roman. And is he just jealous? And the common denominator between Punk, Roman, and Rollins is the wise man, Paul Heyman. Now, we all know how Paul Heyman is. We all know who he is. We can't say that he's the nicest guy. We know that, Heyman goes wherever Heyman feels and wherever Heyman thinks the profit for him will be next, where he can thrive. Rollins didn't appreciate this. He wasn't really angry. He was more disappointed in Sami Zayn. He was more disappointed that Sami didn't see the vision that Rollins was seeing. So he's telling him to get in line or get out of his way before he becomes a target. Now, he's not saying in a threatening way, which is very, very interesting. It's like he's playing mind games with Sami Zayn. He's telling him, he'll give him a pass. If Zayn doesn't believe in Rollins, he'll let Zayn go to SmackDown. No problem. No questions about it. Nothing. So that's very, very interesting that Rollins is coming with a solution to move Zayn and saying, yo, You don't need to be involved. You don't need to be a target. We're friends. We're good friends. Like, I don't want to hurt you for no reason. It's like that manipulative game that Rollins plays, and we know Rollins is excellent at playing that specific game with people, especially people he is extremely close with, just like Sami freaking Zayn. What's interesting is later in the evening, we see Zayn speaking to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman comes and tells him that, hey, in addition to moving to SmackDown, you know, we have it lined up where you get an undisputed title shot. Simple as that. The one thing you want the most in your WWE career, you get that. If you go to SmackDown, you'll face the winner of Cena Orton for the title. And it's like, oh, okay, so now he gets a favor. So that's very, very interesting. This whole favor stuff really got people messed up. I think it's hilarious, low key. I think it's great. So Rollins tells Sami, like, hey, you gotta let us know by the end of the night what the hell you're gonna do. Or else type of situation. Paul Heyman tells him in the backstage segment that, yeah, Braun Breaker wants a match with you. Like, because Zayn called out Braun Breaker, like, yo, I'm gonna kick you in the face if you keep staring at me, homie. Like, quit looking at me like that. So you can see the fires burning under Zayn. You can see him contemplating what he wants to do. I don't think he even knows what he wants to do, He's a little confused. He's a little lost. Let's see what Zayn decides later in the night. But for now, I like that we're continuing a little bit more of this whole NXT call-ups to Raw. Now, I guess they're not officially on Raw yet, Roxanne Perez and Julia, but then, and let me just backtrack real quick. The only reason I say that is because Michael Cole kept referring to them as, oh, the NXT girls are quote-unquote invading, in a sense, I guess you could say, the Raw roster. But I think they are going to be part of Raw, and it's literally just clear as day right there, because we had Roxanne against Rhea. I thought it was a good matchup, very good match, until Julia comes out, causes a distraction, and Roxanne tries to win. Rhea goes pin, but instead, Julia attacks just as Rhea is about to pin Roxy and beat her. Julia and Roxy beating the hell out of Rhea. Rhea, of course, she has backup in the form of Io Sky, repaying her favor from last week, that she got from Rhea. Rhea saved her last week, and now Io's coming out to save Rhea. It seems like this is definitely setting up a tag team match between Io and Rhea versus Julia and Roxy. But what's weird to me is, well, I guess what's weird to me is they could have teamed up Io with, I don't know, one of her Damage Control partners. Like, where's Dakota Kai been at? I think she's still healthy. She's fine. I know that Asuka is still working to get fully healthy. I think she is ready to come back, but I think she's just taking precautions and just being fully good to go. Same thing with Kairi Sane. I think Kairi Sane is still actually in her physical therapy, just doing a little bit. But it would have been cool to see, like, Io teamed up with one of her own teammates. Like, that would make sense. But, I guess Rhea does the job. It's fine. It is what it is. A man I did not expect to see tonight, and I did hear rumors, and he confirmed it. That's the YouTuber, the social media content king, I guess if you want to call him, of WWE, Logan Paul. Logan Paul comes out, and he's hyping up that he beat AJ Styles at Mania, and that, he took care of business as he said he was gonna. And he just starts a little bit about Jay, saying the only thing that saluted him is a world title in the WWE so far. And he's calling out Jay because he wants that title. That brings Jay out immediately. Jay's out here. He looks serious. He says that after that attack that Gunther did on Jimmy, Jay's perspective has changed. He's became more serious, more ruthless. And I like that. Because, as they're going back and forth, and, Jay's like, yo, you want the title? Why don't you come and get it? And I think Logan Paul had a freaking crazy response with, he's done more in 4 years than Jay has done in 15, and that he's gonna lose that title faster than Jay's IC title reign, which is wild to say. After that retaliation, turns around, bang, gets super kicked by Jay and leaves him laying. So this is obviously going to happen at Backlash. It's going to be Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for that world title. I don't know how I feel about it. Let's hope to God they're not thinking about having Logan take that title. I just don't think that would be smart and best for business. But they will probably put up a decent match. I feel like Logan Paul, the one thing he can back up is his in-ring ability. I mean, he's just good in the ring. He's athletic. He knows what he's doing. I like it. Personally. Now, we get a small segment, actually. I want to just transition and talk about a team that I thought would be breaking up. We have a small segment in the back with the Judgment Day. Balor is questioning JD. Oh, JD, why didn't you let me know that you were going to return? I thought we were going to talk about this, yada, yada, yada. And he says to Balor that he told Dom about it. That apparently, I guess no one passed on the message to Balor. Now, JD knows that Balor and him are obviously close friends, and it's kind of seeming weird that Balor's kind of being left on the outside all of a sudden in a lot of different decisions, I want to say. A lot of different movements happening with the Judgment Day. Very interesting to me. Because we are definitely going to that level where Balor is going to separate himself from the Judgment Day. But, like, what's happening? I'm a little confused. Is JD gonna go with Balor, or is he, by listening to Dom, possibly going to betray Balor? In between all this, Liv tells, JD, oh yeah, you told Balor about the matchup, right? And Balor's like, the hell are you talking about? And apparently it's JD and Balor versus the War Raiders. The winners will be able to face, the New Day for the Raw Tag titles. And it seemed like Liv came off and was kind of coming at my boy Balor's neck saying, yeah, you want to go, right? Like, you got a title opportunity now. You can see Balor's like a little like, I don't know if I was really looking to get a tag title match again. But, like, it'll do, I guess. You can see the little hints, little implosions already happening. Little hostile types of jabs at each other is what I'll say. And, of course, Dom is there and he's kind of enticing it. And I think this is definitely going to implode so badly in the Judgment Day's face. It's going to be crazy, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see how it goes. Possibly we can see Balor going to an old friend of his, AJ Styles, to possibly team up again. And the reason why I say that is Styles was looking for a match, talking to Nick Aldis, who, by the way, was filling in for Adam Pearce this week on Monday Night Raw. He was checking with Nick Aldis for some opportunities and who he can be facing next. And Dom and Liv and them come in, and they just start talking trash. Dom says, who the hell are you? I like that Dominic Mysterio kind of got this little confidence in him all of a sudden because he has the IC title. And he insults Styles, walks away. And I can definitely see it happening where Styles is going to face Dom possibly. And because of that, we can see that Balor helps Styles. There's a lot of possibilities and routes now we can take from here. And in my opinion, it's very, very important to kind of keep it that way. For one thing, is interesting is that I heard that Liv Morgan was going to have a big week next week. Now, she told Nick Aldis that she's going to be taking some time away for a movie. She's not going to be available. Dom also requested it, but Nick Aldis told him no. Now, I don't understand if she's doing a major movie, let's say. That means she's going to be gone for a while. Why would she hold on to the tag titles? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not sure if this is a work or this is legit. Like, is she actually going away for a movie? Or is nothing really happening from that? I'm not really sure. And I'm very, very curious to see how this turns out. Is Liv going to turn on someone next week? We should definitely tune in next week to see what the hell is going to happen. And of course, later in the night, or right afterwards, we see the War Raiders beat Balor and JD, sadly. And reason for that is actually Penta coming in and getting some revenge because JD cost him last week, so he cost JD his matchup this week. You can see Penta posing on the announcer's table. And let's see where Penta's gonna go from here. It looks like he may get into a little thing with Chad Gable after Gable insulted his brother and him backstage. So I can see that happening for sure. By the way, shout out to Chad Gable's shirt. I loved it. El Grande Americano is numero uno. I'm gonna have to get myself that shirt because that shirt is honestly hilarious. Something that is not hilarious though is the fact that Becky Lynch is, in my opinion, getting the Hulk Hogan treatment right now. Comes in and she can just get right into a title matchup, regardless of how it goes or who's in it. And we saw her obviously turn on Lyra last week. Becky comes out. She admits that she's the one who attacked Bayley. So she's the one who took out Bayley just so she can get herself into the damn title matchup. And then she loses it the very next night. Like, come on. And Becky is talking all this. Lyra comes out, says that, she no longer wants to be like Becky. And then after a little smack talk, they start fighting. I like it. They start fighting. Becky runs through the crowd, runs away. This is definitely setting up the Lyra versus Becky Lynch for the women's IC title matchup. And in my opinion, Becky should take that because then that's going to directly transition into the Becky Lynch versus Bayley matchup, which then also Bayley needs that title to become a Grand Slam champion again. So I believe that's what's going to lead to. And I'm kind of all for it for this whole Becky stealing opportunities from someone and Bayley just being left off and getting attacked. So I could definitely see this turning into the long-term story. I don't know what happens to Lyra from there, but I don't see Lyra winning or retaining that title whenever they do make that match official and that happens. I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me that Lyra would even retain it. And I don't know. I think it's gonna be very interesting, and I like to see some of these younger stars against some spotlight and shine for once. Change it up a little bit. Speaking of younger stars, you got Stephanie Vakir who came out again, the NXT Women's Champ, and she beat Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile. In an intense matchup, I would say. I think this is more of just kind of getting the main roster crowd more acclimated and comfortable with who Stephanie is. I don't know if she's going to get called up per se, but there's a reason why they keep showing her more and more and more on Raw as well as NXT. NXT, of course, is her show, but why on Raw this often? So there's definitely deeper meaning behind that. And speaking of some crazy deeper meanings, I mean, I'm like, what is the meaning behind Pat McAfee getting choked out last week? I thought it was to write him off. Pat McAfee was on commentary tonight, and I can't believe my second guess was actually right. Pat McAfee versus Gunther at Backlash is made official. Pat put on a pretty... I saw a lot of people hyping up his promo. I personally thought it was an okay promo. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But I really wanted to see some wild stuff. And man, Pat, he put up a good promo, as I said. Nick Aldis comes out. He says he doesn't appreciate how things are handled on Raw. And he doesn't run a chaotic show on SmackDown. So, he'll give Pat McAfee a match against Gunther at Backlash. and that's official. Like I think like that's good to go. He's gonna lift the suspension and let Pat versus Gunther happen in St. Louis. I honestly don't know what to expect. I just don't see Pat winning, and I don't know how he's gonna put up a decent match, but it's something I'm looking forward to. I want to see what he brings to the table. He's a hype man, man. I like Pat McAfee because of that. He's a hype man. He gets crazy on the commentary table. So let's see what he got in the ring. Let's see what he got. We've seen him a couple times, but nothing crazy, especially with a guy like Gunther getting in the ring. I don't know if he's ever been with someone like that in the ring. Let's see though. Let's see how it turns out. And now we have our main event, ladies and gentlemen. Rollins wants his answer. What's Sami Zayn gonna do? Is he going to become a target, or is he going to take the offer and go to SmackDown? And, they have a heart to heart saying, like, they are close friends. Their kids played together. They're very much in tune with each other. However, Sami Zayn knows Rollins. He knows Rollins knows how to get into people's heads. That's why Paul Heyman offered Sami Zayn the world title match for moving to SmackDown. And Sami Zayn tells Rollins, like, think about it. When have you really known me to take a shortcut, to take a pass, to not be there for the fight? So you can see Rollins is thinking like, oh shoot. And he tells Sami, like, if you stay on Raw, you're going to be against me. Bad things are going to happen to you. Sami Zayn says that, you know what, Rollins, you can go to hell. And as soon as he says that, Braun Breaker's music hits. He looks like he's ready for a matchup. I did not expect this matchup to happen tonight, by the way. I thought this was it, the last segment of the night. However, we get a impromptu Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn matchup. And that was a pretty good matchup. I'm not really surprised at all. That was a very good matchup. You can see Sami Zayn, he gets some really good offense in, and then Braun eventually spears him, but doesn't go for the pin. Braun is there clearly to hurt Sami Zayn. He was there just for that, especially because he denied the pass that Rollins tried giving him. Because of that, Rollins even tries to tell him right in the middle of the match that, hey, like, you can still change your mind. It's all right. But Braun just keeps giving Sami Zayn, like, freaking spear after spear. He gave him 2 in the ring, and then he gave him another one after Zayn is literally, like, holding his ribs out the ring. Braun freaking goes full speed, circles the damn ring, bang, spears Sami Zayn in half, basically. Zayn is hurting. Zayn is hurting. He's down and out. And Braun Breaker is having a great laugh. Michael Cole and commentary is freaking out, telling Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins to stop it. You can see Rollins just give head nods to Braun Breaker as like instructions, like, hey, take care of this. And from everything that happens from there is like, oh shoot, is he gonna give him another damn spear? And he does. He gives him like 4 spears, guys. That's insane. He gave him four spears, 2. I believe it was 3 rebounding ones from the ropes. No, 2 rebounding ones from the ropes, 1 actual spear from the corner, and then 1 where he circled the ring and speared him in half. This guy Sami Zayn was laid out, taken out. I had a feeling that was gonna happen, and the ref had to call the match. Like, Zayn couldn't continue, so the ref calls the match. Didn't really like that as an end. It's a dumb way to end a match, to be honest. Like, if you got them beating each other up, why are you not just finishing that off? That doesn't make sense to me. And you see Rollins kind of like telling Braun, like, hey, if if he's not with us type of deal, he's against us, like, he's gonna leave him laying, and that he made his bed. As soon as he tells him that, sees Sami Zayn a little bit up, bang, gets a curb stomp by Rollins. And that's a wrap, basically, for the show. You see Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman standing tall again this week. I think that's very, very interesting. They again this week stood tall. And fun fact I would like to mention is that Karrion Cross also told backstage to Sami Zayn, "Hey, make a good decision." And it's interesting because I'm hearing that Karrion Cross is gonna get a big push and more TV time, especially after that crazy rant he went on, with that promo after Mania. I think he needs a push anyways. And again, Karrion Cross is in this like weird situation where whoever he confronts is basically kind of turning heel or turning a different personality, I would say. Very interesting. Let's see how this turns up. I'm hoping that this is indeed leading to the tag match of Rollins and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Roman Reigns. However, I'm not really sure on how Roman's schedule looks. We haven't seen Punk. Maybe this is the reason that Sami Zayn got involved. Maybe it's going to be Sami Zayn and CM Punk. They are also good friends. And they are going to face Rollins and Braun Breaker. In that sense, maybe we can see like a Backlash OTC return possibly. And then we get a brand new reveal of a new member of Rollins' group. I do think there is another member. I don't think it's just done with just those two and Heyman. It doesn't make sense to me. I think there is another member, and we just have to be patient and wait to see who it is. Hopefully, it's a big star. I don't know. I'm gonna put a dark horse out there to end the show out. Rusev. He's already a heel. He's beating people up. We can maybe have this wrong. If this is going to be an Evolution 2.0 type of deal, maybe have Rusev as like the quote unquote Batista role, and the quote unquote Randy role is actually Braun Breaker, young star. I can see that happening, and Rusev would be a crazy addition to that Rollins group, I think. And it would keep him, honestly, super relevant since he just returned. He's facing Otis next week, I believe, which was announced for Raw. And he's going to destroy Otis, in my opinion. I think he should take care of business there. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I appreciate it as always. Again, I would like to thank everybody who gave me a shout out and gave me the extra love this past Friday night after seeing me on SmackDown. And we will see each other and speak with each other next week, guys. I can't wait. I think things are only getting heated up with this Rollins group. And let's see where it takes us. And don't forget to subscribe and like, and talk to you guys later.